So why did I order a rear-wheel drive car rather than an all-wheel drive car? And am I going to keep this car or trade it in? Let's talk about that. Good morning, guys. Today's topic: why specifically did I buy a rear-wheel drive car? Why did I not wait for all-wheel drive, and especially potentially for the performance version? So there's a number of components to this story, but basically I was one of the people that stood in line and on opening day to place my deposit on a car. So I stood in line for a few hours and was number 9, I think, in line that day. Ordered my car 4 minutes after orders began being taken here in Illinois. But I live in the middle of the state and not on the West Coast, and I don't currently own a Tesla, so I knew that I would not be one of the very early people to receive a car, but I also knew that I would be one of the first in my area. And so when I got my invitation to configure my car, I think it was March 22nd of this year, 2018, received my my invite to configure my car. At that point, I started to consider, should I order all-wheel drive, or should I just go ahead and spec and order my car right away? There were a number of things to consider. First and foremost was cost. Now, initially when I ordered this car, or when I placed my reservation, my wife and I discussed it, and I had a $50,000 sort of budget that I was looking at. And ultimately, by the time I paid for the pearl white paint and autopilot, it was $56,000. So I was already $6,000 over my limit. And the all-wheel drive would have added thousands more to it, which would have put me at the $60,000, just a little over $60,000 mark, $61,000 at this point. All-wheel drive was, for a while, was $4,000 option, and then right now I believe it's a $5,000 option. But in any event, it would have put it, crested the $60,000 mark. And for me, that seemed like an awful lot of money, and it is. $50,000 is a lot. So 60 was just putting it out of my price range. Second item was waiting. I had already waited for 2 solid years. Did I really want to wait any longer for an all-wheel drive car? And the third concern is multiple concerns related to the waiting, and that is that, number one, if I waited, not only would I miss another summer without the car, but that means that the first miles this car would see potentially would be winter miles. And I didn't want the first miles of a brand new car to be spent in the winter. Also, if I waited, I knew that with the popularity of the Model 3, I knew that I had the potential of growing my channel quite considerably the sooner I got the car. So the longer you wait, the more Model 3s are out there, and the less valuable videos regarding the Model 3 would become. And so I wanted to get the car early because of that. I have an early VIN. It's in the low 9,000s, and I knew that that would make the content of my videos better. And lastly was the concern that, not knowing exactly when the all-wheel drive cars would be delivered, I had to take delivery and that before the end of the year to get the tax credit on this year's taxes. And I was concerned that I might miss out on the full $7,500 tax credit. So all of those things sort of combined led me to purchasing the rear-wheel drive car. And I have not been sorry that I've done so. A part of me wishes I could have gotten all-wheel drive when I did, but the performance version, that would have been far too much money at the time I reserved the car. But had all-wheel drive been available, I probably would have sprung for it, even though it was more money. I probably would have done it, but definitely not the performance version. Well, now, if I could do it right now, and if I knew that my YouTube channel would be doing what it's doing, which it's still a small channel, but it's making me enough money now, monthly, that I would have ordered the performance version back then, had I known that my channel would be doing well. The problem is I wouldn't have gotten my car till about now, which means I just now would have started channel content, which means just now would my channel be growing and I wouldn't be making as much money off of it. So there's quite the concern there. And all of that wrapped around just this thought of, I waited so long already. Now the next question is, am I going to trade this car in on an all-wheel drive or a performance version? That's a good question. My wife actually the day before yesterday called me and asked. She said, are the all-wheel drive Model 3s, do they look any different? I said, no, they're an identical car. The performance version has red brake calipers and, you know, dual motor notification or lettering on the back of the car, but you know, the body style's the same, the interior's the same. As far as shape, you can get the white interior, but I wouldn't have gotten that anyway. So I said essentially it would be an identical car. So because she loves the look of this car, especially with it lowered, and so she said, well, are you going to trade in your car on an all-wheel drive one or maybe the performance version? So we discussed it for some time, and I called Tesla and asked them. I said, you know, what would I get in trade-in on the car? And they said, well, the price will vary depending on the exact miles that the car has at the point at which you trade it in. But they said $41,000 to $43,000 is what I would get in trade. Now that means that I'd be taking a $13,000 to $15,000 hit on this car. Not willing to do that, but then they did mention. They said, you know what? If you order a performance version, they said that those are being shipped quickly. They said that I would still get a $7,500 tax credit, which means I would end up with two $7,500 tax credits this year. And my federal tax burden is indeed in excess of $15,000. So I could make use of two $7,500 tax credits. But a performance car would be right up around $70,000. I would get about, well, let's even call it high, $43,000 trade-in on this car. By the time out the door, I'd be about 75 grand for a performance car, minus 43, which means I'm $32,000 more to get a performance car, minus then the $7,500. I would still be well in the mid $20,000, $25-ish thousand out of pocket to step from this car to a performance Model 3. Now, that's a lot of money to essentially get a car that's faster. Now, the thing is, it would be quite a bit faster, but I'd be spending $20,000 plus, say $25,000 so that the car would be faster. Well, I began to think about it and weigh the options. Now, it would be good content for my channel, and so I admit that. You know, imagine the video. I'm trading in my Model 3, my rear-wheel drive Model 3 on a Performance 3. I would gain a lot of new viewership, and part of me has considered doing it for that reason alone, but I don't know what the staying power of this channel is going to be. 3 years from now, will the channel still be earning me some revenue, or will it just be that 3 years from now I no longer have a $700 and some a month car payment? I've now got a $1,200 a month car payment, and is my channel going to be, you know, so I don't know. Just to make a car a little bit faster, how many times in a day would I be flooring the thing? I don't know. I would, but not a lot. And so I began to think about it. And for one thing, my wife and I are looking at buying a maybe a 2 or 3 year old BMW Z4. And that car would be anywhere from $30,000 to $40,000, depending on the year, depending on the miles, depending on, we would get either an I or a 35i or a 35IS. So depending on the car, the added amount that I'd be paying for this car could theoretically completely pay for a Z4. If we got a 35i that's maybe 3 years old with a few miles on it, you know, in the mid-20s, low 20s even. If we get a 2-year-old IS with very few miles, it'd be more like mid to high 30s. But still, almost buy that car outright for what just making this car a little faster would do, or well, a lot faster. But still, I had to consider that, and so at this point, at least right now, I've decided to keep this car. First, It's lighter than an all-wheel drive car by a couple hundred pounds. Secondly, it is more efficient. Tesla rates the cars at the same mileage, but everyone's kind of begun to realize they've fudged the numbers a little bit. The all-wheel drive cars are actually less efficient, about 10% less efficient than this car. So it's more efficient, and efficiency means a lot for me because I do put a lot of miles on the car per day, so efficiency matters. I like the fact that I've already got it lowered and tinted and the wheels on it. I like it. And on top of the fact that if I trade this in, I will lose that early car aspect of owning this. Again, I've got a very early VIN in the low 9,000s, and I've got going on 15,000 miles on this car. So my channel over the years over the next couple of years will probably become what's it like owning an early Model 3 with very high miles. There will be quite a bit of content I could see occurring based around that. As Bjorn Nyland in Norway had become the guy with the most miles on an early Model S, I have a feeling that at least a portion of my channel will be sort of revolved around that. I'll have an early, very, very high mile Model 3. 40 to 50,000 miles a year will be put on this car. I've had it less than 4 months, and I've got almost 15,000 miles on it already. So anyway, those are my thoughts on it. I didn't mean to talk your ears off here, but a little quick sidebar. I've been hearing you guys talking about I need better equipment for my channel. For one thing, the audio. I completely agree with you guys, and I have to apologize for the quality of the audio. Right now I'm shooting this on a GoPro Hero 5 with just the factory case built-in mic, and I'm having issues with the audio dropping and rising back up. Occasionally I'll shoot a video where there's no audio at all. The Hero 5 has issues in that regard, and so just last night I ordered a that way overpriced GoPro Hero external mic adapter that they sell, and I got an external mic and a wind muff and some mounts and different things. So I'll be using an external mic. They're supposed to be here as of me speaking. Today is Wednesday, before the Labor Day weekend. They're supposed to be here tomorrow, Thursday. So I will be doing a road trip over the Labor Day weekend, and so I plan on using the external mic during that road trip. Also, I'm going to be getting at least one more GoPro so I can have a couple of them in the car at various locations. I'm purchasing a new laptop to do better video editing. Right now I've been using an older computer that quite honestly stalls, and it's running ultra slow and it's super cumbersome. So we also updated our internet service so I can upload faster, and so I'm now taking all of the revenue that my channel is earning and putting it into equipment. So the quality of my videos should go up. I'm also going to start, I've got 2 family members that are professional videographers. I want to sit down with them for a few hours and learn proper videoing and video editing skills. So keep an eye out on the channel for improved video content, not only in just the content, but the quality of the content, the editing, and maybe different effects and that kind of thing. So anyway, sorry to be so talkative and wordy on this video, but go ahead and give me a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. If you have any suggestions or even thoughts on should I trade in the car or not, or different things, leave them in the comments below. I will be doing a video on the pure financial aspects of what did it cost me to buy this car, what did I put down, what is my monthly payment, what's my interest, how long do I have it financed, and all of that, and using a car for business use. Those videos will be forthcoming. So anyway, thanks a lot, guys, and I hope you guys have a great Labor Day weekend. Take it easy.